In this video I'll be going over some Viper lineups for the brand new map Pearl in Valorant. I'll be mostly focusing on the mollies and the poison orb, but I will also be going over some basic walls for defending and attacking as well. When it comes to attacking A as Viper, the wall that I like to do just goes across this area like that, so it'll mostly block off from flowers and A link. So literally just come up anywhere against this wall and just line it up on your map so it just blocks off like that, probably even a little bit more to the left if you want. And then a really good poison cloud which will block off that line of sight. Stand in this corner back here, and then looking at that point on the map, you're going to put that corner of your HUD there. It'll look something like that. Then you want to just do a jumping throw, and you can see it'll come flying over the top here, and it's going to land back in this little pocket quite nicely, so it'll block off that area. And then as you're coming onto site, all you'll have to worry about is mostly you can just clear this right corner, and then you can just look along the wall. Maybe you have one person come clear through here, maybe push through your smoke with a flash, something like that, and you'll be able to attack A site very easily. Another good poison cloud for attacking, which will land here on the map and block off both link and flowers as you're pushing in. You're going to stand in this corner here. It's not very exact, but you'll eventually find you get stuck in a corner here. And then you want to line up this part of your HUD with those lines on the roof there. So your HUD should look something like that. Then just do a normal throw. It's going to come over the top, and then you'll find that down here it's going to land right there. So then as you're pushing in, it'll completely block off both link and flowers with the one poison orb, and you'll only have to clear back there and here as well. So that's an alternative attacking route that you can do instead of this wall across there. So firstly, we'll look at this default spot for post plan. If you want to get a poison cloud to land there, stand in this corner as you're coming through on attack, and then at the top of that line going up there, you want that bottom right corner of your poison meter to be lined up like so. Then just do a normal throw. And this one's going to be really good because you can see exactly where it lands. It's not quite going to be a one-way per se. You just can't quite get it high enough here, but they're going to be in a very precise area if they are defusing the spike. You can't see if they're defusing it or not, but if you have the molly there, it will kill them anywhere they're defusing in this area. And additionally, if you have a teammate that's here like spraying them or something, instead of them having a giant smoke to shoot into, they just have this one tiny little pocket there which they can spray into and kill them pretty easily. So that's going to be a very good lineup for that. Now for some mollies to land in that spot where that first default plant is going to be, you're going to stand in this corner, and then at that point on the map right there, put the bottom right line of your HUD there like so. Then just do a normal throw. You can see it's going to land right there, and anyone defusing is going to be in this molly. Alternatively, you can stand in this corner on that line right there of this aquadome. You're going to put that part of your HUD right at the top of that dark gray line. The rest of your screen will look something like this. Then just do a normal throw, and then you can see again landing in this same area. All of that default spot is now mollied. If you're very lost in defender side records and you think they're about to start defusing the spike, from this corner, aim at the bottom of that chimney and put that line there, and just do a normal throw. You can see it looks like there's a little bit of space here, but if they're standing anywhere in this corner, which they'll have to be defusing the spike, it'll be on them. When it comes to defending the A site with your wall and cloud right at the start of the round, there's nothing too fancy that you're going to be able to do. So either just chuck your poison cloud on the steps and have that there as a smoke, or you can also try coming back here and using your wall as a smoke just there to then just obviously cover that main point right there. As well as a quick one for retaking A side as a defender. If you want to get a poison cloud up and you want to just smoke off that A main area, you stand in this corner as you're running back in, and then above these leaves and above this bar, you'll just be aiming there. You can see, don't really need to line it up or anything on your HUD with that one. Just line up your crosshair like that, and you can see it's going to land very nicely there. So there's a whole massive chunk of angles you don't have to worry about as you're retaking this site. It's a really good smoke for attacking mid. If you want to smoke off this mid doors area, you're going to be lining your HUD up there, and then you want it to look like that. This one's very precise, and if you just do a normal throw from there, you can see it is actually going to go just through the top of this tiny gap here and then land on the defender side. And then what this is actually going to do is from here, it's just like a normal smoke for them, but it's actually a very perfect angle where if you did it wider, they'd have a lot of angles to pick out from. But in this case, the second they come out of the smoke, you can see them from anywhere else in mid. Alternatively, if you want to smoke to block off this area as you're pushing into mid, you have to do it from spawn. Stand in this corner right here, and the area where you're going to be putting your HUD is right in this corner. So you want it to be looking something like that. Then just do a normal throw, and then this one is going to bounce off the wall And then you can see as they smoke it, it doesn't give the defenders much space to push out of. When it comes to defending mid, because there's a very good one way you can do in this A art area. This was found by Thinking Man's Valorant. Massive props to him for this. This is in no way my lineup. What you do is if you stand in this corner back here, and then that corner of the stairs right there is where you're going to be putting your HUD. So have it lined up like you can see there. Then just do a normal throw, and it is going to land nicely up on top of this corner, and that's going to be a really good one way from this area. And then you can see, you'll be able to see their legs as they're coming through, whereas they'll be looking and they can't actually see anything. And even if they come all the way back here, you'll be expecting them, whereas they can't really see where you are. If you're defending from mid doors and you want to quickly smoke off this area, aim just below and to the left of these grey bricks. Doesn't really matter where you're standing, just aim roughly around there. And then this one, you can see when the smoke goes up, it doesn't give the defenders much space to push out of from here. When it comes to attacking the B side, one wall that I like to do is be pressed up here, and then you want a wall to the left of this box or get on top of the box. Either works. Just roughly something like that. And then you want to have teammates go first, or have someone throw a flash out so you don't get orbed something. Starting from the back of this wall and aiming along here between the roof and the skyline. Start running and then do a jumping throw, and then this poison orb is going to land in here in this hallway, and then you can see there it's going to block this off. Now it does give them a little bit of space. To push out from. So if you really don't want that to happen, you can just throw it a little bit later, and then you'll see it's going to go deep into this area where it'll look like they have a space to come out from here, but really no one's just going to walk out of this smoke. It's going to be just the same as walking out if it was further out. One wall that's pretty difficult but will give you a lot more control over the site is if you start pressed up against this pillar right here. You're going to be in this big club area on the map. Aim roughly at the level of these lines, and on the map you want it to be sort of parallel with this line right here. You don't want to be going too far to the left or the right or anything like that. A little bit to the left of this part of the pillar, then just click like that, and then you can see this wall is going to not only go on the top of this, but it'll also cover down here, and it will also give you some control over this area, because obviously defender can still be sitting in here, but if someone's coming through from shop, they still do have to cross through this wall, which once you have control of the side isn't going to be something they want to do. Now when it comes to post-plant attack on the B side, first things first, I really recommend you try and plant the spike here if you can. It's definitely the easiest place to hold from, because you can see just how far back you can see this from. Right on this corner is good as well, but it is possible for someone to stick it from here, and it's really hard to wallbang them. So whenever possible, plant it from there. It's going to be easiest. This spot is very safe to plant in, obviously, but it's very difficult to play around unless you're staying on site, which is going to be difficult. Whereas again, if you do this wall that I showed earlier, once you get down here, you'll have this site to yourself, and then you can just plant roughly here. Of course, I will be able to spray you so you can change it up from time to time. Sometimes stand a little bit more over here instead. Sometimes sit in this corner. Just plant it roughly in this spot right here, because this is where most of the lineups will be, and then it's going to make it much easier to hold even without any abilities. Just like a general tip, try plant it here whenever it's safe to. On top of this box right here, it's going to be the best spot to get your poison clouds if you're planting it there. You want the poison orb there for the post plant. If you need to back yourself into a corner, you can try coming to this one here at some point in the round, and you're going to be aiming your HUD down here. Have a look roughly like that. Do a normal throw, and then you can see this poison cloud is going to land on top of this box. And then what this does, if it's planted in this corner, means that anywhere where they're trying to defuse from, they will be in your poison cloud, and additionally they can't see, so they've got no idea. They can't see if you're peeking or anything. They have no idea what's going on. One from a little bit further back, stand on roughly this point. You're going to be aiming your HUD roughly in this corner. Then you want it to look like that. Do a normal throw, and then you can see it's going to land in that same spot. I'm going to do that same thing as before. An alternative option you can do is aim at that part of that roof as you're running in here, then just do a normal running throw, and that's going to land back here. It's going to cover that whole default, and it will also sort of cover this part as you're running into the site, so you could use it to block this off, although I wouldn't put this up until post plant, because it actually probably helps the defenders out more and gives them more angles to pick from. If you decide to plant it here and want to get a poison cloud to land roughly in that area, what you can do is, from the safety of back here, be in line with this, and you're going to be aiming up your HUD right at that point between those two grey boxes. You want it to look something like that, then just do a normal throw, and then where this one is going to land, again, is going to cover that default spot, so it will give the defenders cover as they're defusing, of course, but if you have the mollies in there, it'll kill them very quickly. One molly for that first plant spot, If you come into this corner back here, you're going to be aiming your HUD there. Have it lined up looking something like that. Then just do a normal throw. This one's going to come over the top of the roof. And then of course it's going to land right in this corner on site. So if you've planted it anywhere in here, the defenders are going to be mollied. Then to get into that same spot, all the way back from spawn, this one's really far away, but if you're back in spawn and you need to get the molly there, you're going to be aiming your HUD right at that corner where the roof and the chimney meet from this perspective. You want it to look something like that. And just jump and throw at the same time. And then you can see this one is going to go over the top of this roof a long way, and it is going to land back here and get anyone sitting back here trying to defuse the spike. If you need to line up to get to that same spot all the way there from mid, what you can do is come into this corner. You're going to be aiming your HUD at that bottom left part of the statue. So you want it to look something like that. Then just do a normal throw, and then this one is going to be pretty close, but you can see it gets a lot of area outside the spike, but it will just get everything you need in this corner right around here. And this one might just be the best yet. If you are on the most insane flank of your life and you realize you need to start firing these mollies now, come into this corner right here in the defender spawn. You're going to be aiming your HUD at the bottom left corner of that roof there. So you want it to look something like that. Then just do a normal throw, and then this one is going to land better than you could ever hope right there. All that diffusing space just gone. I accidentally just found another one for that spot when I was trying something different. If you're in like mid doors, be a link sort of area, what you can do is come into this spot right here. You're going to be aiming with your HUD right there where the wire meets that roof. It's going to look something like that. Then just do a normal throw, and this one is insane. You can see it's going to come here. It looks like it's going to land down here. It's going to bounce off this roof and then land down here, get this diffusing spot. I don't even know how I found this. Also for these two, I don't really have a lineup for the poison orb per se, but you're going to be planning it here anyway, and you're going to have to come down to site, so just throw it down in the middle as soon as you plan it, or right before you plan it, right after you plan it, whatever. And then that's just going to work right for there. There are not many good mollies again for that spot roughly down there. One you can do, come to this corner here, you're going to be aiming your HUD there. We want it to look something like that. And just do a jumping throw, and you can see how precise you have to be with this one, because not only will that only just get past the roof, it will still just barely get into these corners here. So there's not going to be many mollies for this one, but there's one of the few ones that I found that actually works. One you can do from the other corner, so we were here before. Now if you want to do one from this corner instead, you're going to be aiming your HUD at that point right there. Then you want to look at the dot below your poison cloud ability, then just do a jumping throw, and you can see that one again just goes past the roof and clears out both of those spots. If you're once again stuck in the defender spawn for whatever reason, back into this corner, you're going to be aiming your HUD roughly there. So you want it to look something like that. Then just do a normal throw, and this one's going to come over the back of the site and land right there, as you can see. When it comes to defending B site as Viper, one thing I like to do is throw my poison orb up here. It's really simple. All you have to do is back yourself into this corner, aim right there, and just do a normal left click throw, and you can see it's going to get stuck in there. And this is actually really good one way, because you can see, especially if you're further back here, you know, you can just see people's legs. Whereas if you're on this side, because it's higher up, you literally cannot see anything. And especially when you walk through here, you're completely blind, and you'll be walking out with your legs exposed the entire time. So that's a really good one way. Very easy to set up here as well. And as for your wall, probably start it right around here, and you want to focus on the mini map and get it to go right around there, because then what this will do, firstly, as you can see here, it will block off this area and make them have to use flashes and stuff to get through this coming out of B main. But then it'll also smoke off this area if this is something that you want. Maybe you don't want this. In that case, you can just swing it more this way, swing it out more that way. You can also swing it a little bit more to the left and the right, depending on if you want this gap here for your teammates. Maybe you can go straight across here. Just adjust that accordingly to how you and your teammates are actually playing. Retaking B as Viper, assuming that you have your wall up, you probably want to come through B link, just so that you can throw down your wall once you get to around this point. And you just want to make sure you're just covering off B main, pretty simple like that. You will have to be careful of this area. I found this is a pretty common place for defenders to hold from. So if you want to smoke that off, what you can do is stand in this corner. You're lining your HUD up at this point, and you want that line to go roughly there. Then just do a normal throw, and then this smoke orb is going to sit nicely there, and then that'll allow you to smoke that off as you push in, which means you can then put your wall a little bit deeper across, which means you just get more space here for you and your team. Those are most of the useful lineups I've found so far for Viper on Pearl. If there's any more that I've missed, let me know. Otherwise, that's it for me for now, and I'll see you all next time. See ya.